Good evening,
Hola, buenas
Tata.
noches.
Good afternoon, Tata.
Sí,
With shorts with this cold?
tuve frío,
Yes,
la verdad.
I am
Pero
cold,
ya me daba fiaca ponerme uno largo.
but I wasn't about to wear long. We want to know about injuries. Is there somebody not ready for tomorrow or that you're going to save for next time or the roster?
Solo,
And
pero
do
en duda no,
Freire,
todavía no hemos
and doubt
definido.
Freire. We
Estamos
haven't
evaluando el
decided
reporte
yet.
médico
We're talking to
de
the
cada
medical
funcionario de
team
riesgo y
to
estado
see how much risk there is. Another question, what do you expect from Real Salt Lake?
Bueno, a
What
ver,
kind of a
hemos
game
visto
is it going to
partidos
be?
donde Real
We've
Salt
seen
Lake
games where Real Salt
ha tenido
Lake
una presión un poco más alta,
has
hay
had a
partidos
lot
donde
of
han
more
retrocedido un
pressure
poco
and
más, y
some
en
where
todo
they've
caso
held
nosotros
back a
preparamos
little,
el partido
but we're
para cualquiera de las
preparing the
formas,
game for
para
whichever
estar
way
listos
they play to be
si
ready.
sufrimos una
If
presión en
we
la salida,
suffer
estar listos si viene un rival
pressure to
que,
start or if the
que se
rival
mete demasiado
team
atrás.
goes
Bueno,
back a
lo que
lot,
habitualmente hacemos es
what we
para
generally
tener
do is
respuestas
to
para
try
el
to have a
partido que se pueda
response for
presentar,
any game
porque a veces
that could show
incluso
up,
el partido se
because
modifica no
sometimes you
por
modify the
decisiones de los
game
entrenadores,
because
sino por circunstancias del
decision for
juego.
coach,
Así que,
not just by
bueno, tenemos que arriesgarlo
decisions from the
al
coach,
inicio de la
but
liga en vivo.
circumstances of the game. So we'll be facing
Hola,
whatever
buenos días.
comes.
Fernando Fred,
Hello,
con el Inter Miami.
Tata from Inter
Hemos visto
Miami,
muchos
Fernando
cambios, cambios
Freight.
de
We've
jugadores,
seen a lot
cambios
of
de
player
sponsor, cambios de nombres de
changes and
estadio. Lo que
sponsors
no
and
cambia es el amor
stadium.
de nuestros
What
fanáticos
doesn't
de
have
Sevilla, los que se
change
largan
is
en
the
la zona
love of our
norte
fans, the people
a
in the north.
24 horas. ¿Qué le dirías
24 hours. What do you tell
a esos fanáticos que van a
all
llenar
those
mañana el
fans who are
estadio
going to
con
come
Newells
tomorrow to the
para
stadium
que
who came with
tengan un
Newells
buen
to
año?
have a
Bueno,
good
en
year?
realidad nosotros más que decir tenemos que
Truly,
hacer
more than
para que
we
ellos tengan un
saying
buen
we
año.
have to
De todas
do so
formas,
they
les
have a good
diría que
year.
confíen
I will
en el
tell them
equipo, que confíen en
to
el plantel,
have
que
confidence in the
nosotros estamos
roster
listos
and the
para tener
team.
una
We are
muy buena
ready to
temporada.
have a very good season.
Forgive me for bringing it up, but we're in the same boat. You've been doing this 40 or 50 years. Do you still have a feeling just before a season starts? And if so, how would you describe it?
Disculpa que menciones esto, pero que llevo haciendo esto por 40, 50 años.
50 años no tanto.
Not so many as 50.
Sí, 50
40,
sí.
yes, not 50.
¿Sientes quizás el mismo sentimiento de cara a una temporada?
Do you have the same feeling when you start the
El
season?
mismo,
And describe it.
la
The
ilusión,
same, the
la
hope,
adrenalina que
the
provoca un nuevo
adrenaline that is
inicio, las
provoked with a
expectativas
new
por lo que el
start,
equipo
with expectations of what the team
pueda brindarle a su
can
gente
show its
durante la
people,
temporada.
can offer its people during the season.
Yo creo que en el momento que
I
esto no se
believe
sienta,
that when
no
you
se
stop
sienta más,
feeling this,
no
you don't
tiene,
feeling
no
it
hay ningún motivo
anymore.
para estar
There's no
adelante
reason to be
de
here
los
before
jugadores.
you or
Mientras
before the
esto se
players.
sienta,
While you still
realmente,
feel this way, you
bueno,
still
creo
have
que es
this
la
feeling.
forma en que
It
un
truly
profesional
is the way in which a
esté
professional,
con los pantalones cortos o afuera, como estamos
shorts
nosotros,
or outside like we
debe
are,
sentirse
must feel
ante cada reto que se
every
plantea.
time they have a challenge,
Gerardo,
against every challenge every year. Ricardo
entonces,
Armando Rodriguez with
mucho se pregunta sobre las
USA.
grandes figuras. Hoy yo quiero preguntarle
Maybe
sobre uno de
ask
sus
about
jugadores
a lot
jóvenes,
of
Ujú.
big
el
players. One
caso
of
de
the young
Daniel Ruiz, que
players,
juega 6 de
Daniel
7
Ruiz, who
partidos,
played
tiene
6 of 7
constancia en sus
games.
minutos, marca un
He
gol,
is
además.
constant
¿Qué
in
resulta de
his
David Ruiz esta temporada y
minutes.
cuál
Had
cree que es el
a
siguiente
goal.
paso para él, siendo tan joven?
What have you seen in the
Sí,
preseason?
claro.
What's the
Lo
next step?
primero que
Of
tenemos que
course,
observar es
the first thing
lo
that we
joven
have
que es
to
David
say is how
y
young
el
David
margen de
is
crecimiento que todavía
and
tiene.
the
Siempre digo lo
growth
mismo
that he
respecto a
still
David,
has.
respecto a
When I talk
Benja,
about
respecto a
David and
Noah,
Benja
respecto a
and
Jan, que
Noah,
ahora está
Jan,
saliendo
who
de
is
una lesión.
also getting over an injury,
Ellos tuvieron que hacerse cargo
they
en un
had to take
momento
charge
de
at
una situación a lo mejor para que todavía no
in
estaban
front of a
totalmente listos.
problem when they weren't
Entonces,
completely
claro,
ready.
han jugado
Of
mucho más
course,
de
they've
lo que
played a
habitualmente
lot more
juegan
than
futbolistas de
generally
esa edad
a young player
en
plays
en un equipo profesional.
in a
Y la
professional
idea
team.
nuestra es que
And our
cuidarlos un poco
idea
más, no
is
dejarlos tan
to guard
expuestos
them a
como
little
antes, que
bit
lo hemos
more,
tenido que
not to
hacer
expose them
en
as
muchas
much
circunstancias
as
del
we've
año
had
pasado,
to
inclusive en la pretemporada,
last
como
year,
pasó en
even
David.
in preseason,
Pero
as
yo lo
David's
que
case. But
reconozco en
what
ellos es
will recognize in them is
primero
that
mucha dedicación, muchas
first,
ganas de
they're very
progresar, mucho
dedicated. They
pedido
want
para
to
mejorar en el trabajo de
progress.
campo,
They are
en situaciones
asking to
de
improve in
reuniones
field
visuales.
games and in
La verdad
visual
que
meetings.
son chicos
So they are young
son muy
ones. They're young
queribles y con
players
muchas
who
ganas
are very dedicated, and I like to do this. In the United States, I have this, that I want to dedicate this kind of situations because because I like to see the progress of these young players. And in this case, we are very dedicated to all four of them. So they're home players. So Jaime, coach, TUDN, you said you're available. How are physically Leo Messi and Suarez, Luis Suarez? They are ready to play 90 minutes? Or what's your opinion, and how was the pre-Olympic for Diego Gomez for his steps? Yes, they're playing. They're ready to play. And if you require 90 minutes after one of this, we are going to look at it always depending on the need of the team. And Diego, I believe that above all, and being in the team for Paraguay, it helped his self-esteem. Diego's young, very young. He has impressive physical and soccer characteristics. He's one of the three best players in pre-Olympics, with a lot of players in the pre-Olympics that were very good, and he has come back with all that confidence, and we have great hopes for what he is going to be able to offer. Tata Martin Bo de Clarín in Argentina, how are you? Three questions, one very short. What did you take out of this preseason? And you said that the team improved. What improved? And how do you see Leo and Luis and the rest of the players after this experience for this season? Well, let's say the new one is Luis, but I continue to look at them as very dedicated to the team with the rest of the roster, hopeful. In that sense, from day one, we found the same answer, and today we continue with it, coming from them, and especially in front of the rest of the roster. It's not a minor thing. The rest of the players, especially the young ones, feel the support that they give, and also the indications, not just support. The trainers say, the coaches say that a correction from a co-player is more listened to than a correction from the coach, and they have the occasion to help, and so that the idea is received much better. This preseason left us, look, in gameplay, there isn't so much, because in all the cases during this, because of the injuries, players who had to stay behind because they were injured, players that were going to leave the team, and people who haven't arrived, we've done a preseason that very few times we'll be able to see the same teams that we had during the preseason. We're going to have a rhythm, and it's not going to be the same teams. And for me, there's a transcendental fact. This preseason was not typical for MLS for any team. We were tested in the relationship in the commercial area and football and soccer. And in that sense, I think we have something to prove. It wasn't easy to come to agreement from either side, understanding the needs for both sides. And the truth is that we managed it. And in function of the players that we have for tomorrow, we can say that we have managed it without a problem in function of the physical status of the players. You said three, I only answered two. You even forgot? Yes, I believe that we improved in the last games in the defense, specifically Newell. There were games, the first two in Arabia. We didn't work very well in that sense, and we have evolved. It is true that In this analysis, of course, you make into account the characteristics of the both teams, Arab teams against the rest. But I think we have had an evolution in that way. And also the evolution came that we started getting players that were recovering from injuries or coming back from the national teams, and others that were coming in. The first question is the same. Perhaps the team that we want to field in the championship, we will see it in the third or fourth date. So I'm not making such an profound analysis of the whole group in this last preseason or in the preseason. Hello, coach. What is the willingness for Gerardo Martin to come back to have all these other leads that you accepted him back where he was good with Atlanta? How merciful is this league? What is happening to me doesn't happen to everybody. I believe that I've become a trainer, a coach again. The coaching work that I don't have to worry about what happens outside of the field in the stadium next to my house. I believe that I am doing only what happens in on the field with the players and how we're going to play, how we can improve. What we have to improve is going to happen only in training or if there's the need to bring an extra player. My job, my daily job, I come at 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning and leave at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, is just soccer. There's nothing else that have to take my attention. On the other side, I had more attention. I had to pay more attention to things outside of the team. Always. It happened to me in Atlanta. In Atlanta, it was that I was sure that it was going to happen here. I happen to have the same, but we have a little bit higher exposure because of the players that we have. But if you think if these same players we had in another market, it would be absolutely horrible. Good morning, Oscar Procedente from Argentino. The last that we talked, Gregory, who is no longer in the team, is there going to be a player to replace him? And the team for tomorrow, is Gracie going to play tomorrow? What position is going to be the best, or what do you believe is going to be the best for you, since you know him so well, since you had him in Atlanta, about Julian, notwithstanding tomorrow's team? Julian is a player that is where he is the best player and where he feels more comfortable is midfield.
A la derecha de Busquets o a la
He
izquierda de
can
Busquets.
go to the right or to the left. He doesn't have a profile problem. But in Atlanta, we used him in a line of three on the right. If we play 4-3-3, we've used him as a right here. We've used him also, and he basically has a great capacity to read the game. He incorporated into the team very well. He gets along with Leo and Luis, and he value his physical, tactical, and intellectual. If you can say tomorrow, perhaps he doesn't play tomorrow, but and I say that yesterday we talked and Gregory is not there. Let's hope. Don't make me talk because if I get on the airplane, I may have a problem. That was it. Thank you.